What is up, y'all? It's your girl Jazz from All That Jazz, and I am very excited to talk about this. I'm about to go on another one of my little rants, but I am very excited to talk about this topic, and that topic today is singleness. I would say I'm just short of an expert on being single, and there are a few things that I have either learned and or experienced that I'm excited to talk about. So the first thing is I just turned 30 this year, and I feel like there are so many thoughts and assumptions that come with being single, especially once you've, I guess, reached your 30s, as though that means something. But and one of those things that I've experienced is that I just feel like the overall experience of being a single person, a lot of people just don't get it. They haven't been single, and I feel like there's two types of being single. There's being single as in you are literally unmarried, and then there's single as in you are not dating, you're not actively going out trying to put yourself in a relationship. Now, let me say this and give a little bit of background on my I guess, singleness history. So the first thing I would say is, number one, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. And I feel like ever since I really was intentional and very serious about my relationship with God, that's when things changed for me being single and like being intentional about dating. And I think, I don't know, probably like around 21 to 23, somewhere in that time frame. I feel like God gave me very specific instruction to like not date unless he told me that that was someone that I, could date and be in a relationship with. But prior to that, men would ask me on dates or ask me for my number, and I don't think I was like, I don't want to say I wasn't picky, but I just don't think that I was definitely not as guarded as I am now. Now, that being said, I think that sets the tone and the precedent of what it means to be single, because a lot of people, I've had family members, friends, coworkers, you name it, anyone in close proximity that has known that I've been single for an extended portion of time, that is encouraging me to date. They give different tips and advice that can be helpful, but I think in the long run, I'm like, you don't really understand. So the first thing is that there's a lot of people that like encourage you to just go out and start dating. And I'm like, first of all, this doesn't make any sense. To get on dating apps, I listen to Tony Gaskins, and I've always had a strong conviction against dating apps for many reasons. I will not get into them in this video because that is a whole different video in itself. But I've never believed in online dating. And I think that also with the different men that I've listened to, primarily being Tony Gaskins and maybe sometimes like R.C. Blake's, I feel like between the two of them, I feel like there's a lot of wisdom. And I just do not see myself online dating at all. The second thing is, like, people will say, well, just go and get out of the house. Just do different activities. And I'm like, I think doing the activity for the activity's sake is one thing. Doing that with the intent to find your spouse is another. Because if I were to take inventory in my, like, close proximity, everybody that I know that's married met their spouse in the most common of places. Hey, where'd you meet your husband? Oh, I met him at work. Where'd you meet your husband? Oh, we met at school. Where'd you meet your husband? Oh, I met him in college. Where'd you meet your husband? Oh, from a mutual friend group. These are the answers that I get from women that I actually know. So now when I ask the question, did you meet your husband in the club? No, I wasn't going to the club. Did you meet your husband, I don't know, backpacking in Europe? No. Did you meet your husband, like, I don't know, crocheting and doing all these random activities that you're not interested in, but you thought that you'd meet a man doing them? No. All of these women that I know who are married met, like, literally I have like 3 people in my life that I know met their husband at a grocery store. So now when people talk to single people and then they say things like, well, you need to get out of the house, you need to go and do these different things, I'm like, I do agree with you should do these things because you're getting out of the house and you're doing different things for yourself. But sometimes when I hear that advice and it's like, so that you can meet your husband, I'm just like, that's not how anyone that I know who's married met their husband or met their wife. I'm like, okay. So I think that almost frustrates me sometimes when I hear that. And maybe I'm sounding the slightest bit jaded. I could be. But I don't like that, because I think to myself, I'm like, that's not what anyone who actually is married did. So why are you giving such advice? The second thing is, I think sometimes there's this mentality that because you're single, like, do you want to be married? Do you just prefer to be alone? Like, do you not like men? I don't know. Like, there's all sorts of, do you not want children? Like, there's all these types of assumptions. And I feel like it is so hard to be balanced, because in one breath, if you are that single that is always talking about how much you want to be in a relationship, you can't wait to meet a man, you're constantly trying to position yourself so that a man can approach you and ask you for your number, and you're online dating because you want a man to see you. And I guess I'm solely talking about being a woman. I have no idea. I'm sorry, guys out there. I have no idea what that experience is like. But especially, I think, as a woman, you're the one that's in the position where you're waiting to be approached. You can do things to make yourself more approachable, not taking away from that. But like, in most cases, you're the one that's waiting. Whereas I feel like if a man really wants to be in a relationship, he really wants a wife, like, I feel like he could really take control in that area in most cases. That being said, there starts to become all these questions. And I feel like some of those questions are automatically assuming that you don't want kids, or you don't want to be in a relationship, or you just like being single. And I'm like, no, like, you're waiting for the situation to actually make sense. And then on top of that, it's not just enough about like meeting someone, because I've met Christian men. That doesn't mean that we're like compatible or that we're, lined up. Then I meet men who I'm like, oh, he's, not only physically attractive, but I'm actually interested in him. Come to find out, he's not even Christian. And I'm like, okay, well, there's that. So I feel like there's this like assumption that it just clicks and it just works. And sometimes that's the case. But I don't feel like it's always that way. And then, like I said, the assumptions that come along with it. And so going back to what I was saying, you have one group of singles where it's these women who are just so focused. They're like, man, I just really want a husband. I'm tired of being single. I'm ready for this to be the year I meet my husband. I'm getting older and therefore I want to have kids, all of that. And you have people that will tell that single woman, take your time, as though she's not. But like, take your time, be thankful for your singleness, don't rush it. Marriage is not everything. She gets that whole speech, right? And I've had my times where I've really been like, God, I am tired of being single. Can you please send this man ASAP? Can you overnight him, Lord? And then there have been other times where now this is the other type of single. And in most cases, this is the same single person in different seasons. Because I have been that woman that I just described that was like praying and crying and sad and feeling overlooked, right? 2 years ago, I was that single. And everyone then told me, just wait, it's going to happen in God's timing. Don't rush anything. Be happy about where you're at being single. Now I'm in a season where I'm like, wow, okay, I'm focusing on my YouTube videos and advancement at work and traveling and going different places. And now it drives me crazy. Now the conversation is, well, hold on. You just turned 30. Now you have to be mindful of childbearing within a certain amount of years. And Well, you should have a mindset to like settle down, and you shouldn't want to live your whole life alone. And it's just like, when are y'all ever happy? Because when the single is destroyed by sadness and is struggling with the fact that they're single, and then they struggle to get to a point of contentment, you're telling them that they're not realizing the gift that singleness is, which I think that singleness is a gift. But then when they finally get to that point, they've wrestled through the tears and they've prayed and they've laid it before the Lord, and they said, Lord, I choose to be thankful for what you've given me right here and now. And then they finally get to that spot, and now you're over here there telling them, well, don't get too comfortable now. Because if you're gonna have kids, this is the season to do it. And don't get too comfortable now, because when you get to 65 and you're by yourself, like, this is the type of stuff that discourages and frustrates people that have been single, especially for a long period of time. And I can't speak to what it's like to be single and not saved. But for the single person who is saved, their journey doesn't look the same. Because I'm not taking matters into my own hands. I'm not saying that there's no control, that we don't get to manipulate any factors. I could really focus on losing 30 more pounds and then going out and presenting myself in a way that a man might be more attracted to me than he is right now. I could also, smile more of the time and show more open body language that shows approachability. I can acknowledge that those things might help to open up the opportunity for me to be approached by a man that could end up being my husband. And if I quite literally get out of the house more, then the exposure to more people, and therefore the opportunity to be approached more. But you have people who travel the world, you have people who dress up all the time, you have those individuals, and still they are not married. Still it's just them and the Lord hanging on there. And I say those things to say that if you are not, first of all, this is to people who are single, who know what it feels like. You have been to the family events and functions and things like that, and you're the last single person, or people have tried to give you advice and they're saying these same things. Well, you just need to get out of the house more. He'll come at the right time, and all those things. And people are trying to be encouraging, and that's sweet. But they don't understand the emotional ups and downs that come with being single. I'm saying to you as a single that can relate. And really, like I said, with all of these, I'm really just ranting. But I understand what it feels like to go through those ebbs and flows. Because right now, I'm actually very thankful to be single. I'm actually really excited to be able to focus on things that I like. I'm so excited to do these YouTube videos and get off of my chest different ideas and thoughts that have been on my mind for a long time, and speak in my authentic voice. It's not to say that the right relationship I wouldn't be able to do those things in, but right now I get to do that without any distraction. Right now, I'm just excited about where I'm at in my own life. But I can wholeheartedly say that 2 years ago, I was really struggling with being single. I was really struggling with feeling overlooked by God, not understanding God, you gave her a husband and her a husband, and now they're having a baby and they're having a family and they're engaged for the second time. And I'm just like, Lord, what is going on? I understand that. And so to that single, I 100% get that, what you might be feeling. But I would just encourage you that the only one that really understands is the Lord. So go to him and ask him, how do you have contentment with him in every ebb and flow? And yeah, if there are natural things that you can do that are affecting you and preventing you from being approachable to a spouse, then by God's grace, yes, let's ask him to all right, do I need to adjust my appearance? That's a thing. Do I need to, be more approachable? That's a thing. Do I need to get out more so that I can be around men that can approach me, or for men, be in environments where there are women there. Absolutely. Like, we're not taking away the tangible aspects of things. I'm just simply saying that I think there's a lack of understanding sometimes of the ebbs and flows that take place, especially when you're talking to that family member who's been married since 21 and they don't know what it feels like to go an entire decade in your adult years being single. They don't know what that feels like to show up to events and it's just you. And then for the next year to show up again and it's just you. And then when you get to a certain point where people start questioning, are you part of the problem? Are you part of why you are unmarried? And maybe that is the case. It could. I'm not trying to say that that I'm not trying to lose accountability in it. But I do genuinely think that there are some people who are not married because maybe the Lord has set them aside. Maybe it does need to happen for them later in life. So on and so forth. But I just think that that's a struggle that a lot of people don't really know how to relate to. I think I'm going to make a part 2 to this because I feel like I'm rambling. But there's more that I want to say because this is my lived experience of what it feels like being a single person. So stay tuned for part 2 and all that jazz.